Now, as for the fuel and energy sector, the U.S. economy, of course, depends on the availability of energy. And while much of that energy is distributed to users in the form of electricity, some 40% of American domestic energy usage derives from petroleum and 20% from natural gas, both of which are distributed to users through an extensive national pipeline system. This is what powers our cars, heats our homes, and fuels our factories. The Commission found that there are more than 180,000 miles of natural gas pipeline in the U.S. and more than 55,000 miles of oil pipelines. Integrated circuits, digital computers, digital circuitry are ubiquitous in the U.S. commercial petroleum and natural gas infrastructures. An EMP-caused failure in these components can induce dangerous system malfunctions resulting in fires, explosions, catastrophic events. The distribution system for the flow of these products to the end users is controlled by those very small electronic system components that Commissioner Herman, Commissioner Soper, and others have mentioned, the SCADAs. Again, the components among the most vulnerable to the effects of EMP. SCADAs play a critical role at every stage of the oil industry's life cycle, from production to refining to transportation to distribution. They're also essential to modern natural gas operations. Importantly, the oil and gas infrastructures are, again, dependent on other infrastructures for their effective functioning, including electric power and the food, water, and emergency services that sustain the personnel manning those infrastructures. Therefore, again, the interdependencies between infrastructures is critical when it comes to assuring the reliability of the oil and gas industry. The EMP Commission recommended that the federal government take the lead in identifying this threat to the oil and gas industry sectors and specify ways to mitigate its potential consequences. That includes facilitating government-industry partnerships to address policy and investment priorities and technology issues, reviewing the feasibility of establishing a national inventory of component parts, protecting critical components, for example, ensuring prearranged contracts and suppliers to mitigate against the failure of SCADAs and installing backup control centers, developing training and exercises at the individual company level, conducting research and development efforts to protect SCADAs and other equipment against EMP effects, establishing new industry standards that include consideration of electromagnetic pulse threats, and conducting a cost-benefit analysis for protecting the commercial petroleum and gas infrastructures against those effects. And more details on those recommendations can be found in the Commission's report beginning on page 103. The Commission's report analyzes and makes recommendations regarding nearly a dozen specific critical infrastructures. And the report itself is roughly 200 pages long. This is the unclassified report on critical infrastructures. Because this particular threat has been ignored or discounted for so long, most of our critical national infrastructures, as you've heard, remain essentially unprotected from this kind of event. It won't be easy, quick, or simple to overturn decades of neglect with respect to this issue, but there are things that can be done to help mitigate the potentially catastrophic effects. Obviously, this conference is an important step toward increasing general awareness of the consequences of EMP, and thanks to your efforts, I think the battleground is now shifting. More and more attention is being paid to this issue. Quite often, as we know, problems are not addressed until they occur. I recall before September 11th, no one thought to prepare for an attack on the United States from aircraft within our own borders. We now know how vulnerable we are to EMP and what we can do to protect it, prepare for it, defend against it, and respond to it. Now's the time to get on with it, and with your help and support, I'm confident we can definitely get the job done. I thank you again for your attention and wish you well.